Okay, so before this video begins, I want to give a huge thank you to ESPN Plus for their paid support of this video. ESPN Plus is the home for UFC content, and that includes the epic UFC 237 pay-per-view that goes down this Saturday, which can be purchased exclusively on ESPN Plus. And what an incredible card it's going to be, as the UFC returns to Rio de Janeiro. In the main event, you've got two exciting finishers fighting for the strawweight title, with the champion Rose Namajunas defending her title against the heavy-hitting and always dangerous Brazilian Jessica Andrade. I can guarantee you'll see fireworks in this main event. The rest of the card is absolutely stacked, with a pair of Brazilian legends taking on top 10 contenders in their respective divisions. One of those fights being a middleweight fight between one of the greatest of all time, Anderson Silva, taking on the number 10 ranked middleweight in the world, Jared Cannonier. Can the legend Anderson Silva put on a show once again, or will the hungry Jared Cannonier get the biggest win of his career? And the other fight being former UFC featherweight champion of the world and one of the best featherweights of all time, Jose Aldo, taking on the challenge of the ranked number 4 featherweight in the world and featherweight's biggest prospect, Alexander Volkanovski, who has been destroying top 10 contenders in his so far very impressive UFC run. Will Jose Aldo put an end to the hype, or will Alexander Volkanovski stake his claim further for a UFC featherweight title shot with another impressive win? So make sure to purchase the UFC 237 pay-per-view exclusively on ESPN Plus, then watch and enjoy the fights through the many supported devices. When you purchase the UFC 237 pay-per-view on ESPN Plus, you'll also get 1 year of ESPN Plus, all for the price of just $79.99. From time to time on WWE TV, there's the occasional "you're fired" storyline, and most times it ends up with the fired superstar back on the show a week later. So it's unsurprising that some WWE games have actually thrown out a firing storyline, with some lasting the usual 1 week before being hired again, and others actually lasting a few months. Here's a look at 3 of those times. In No Mercy's Championship mode, there's a storyline that is almost an exact copy of the one that actually happened on WWE TV in late 1999. In this storyline, your character has been teaming up with The Rock for the last few weeks to go up against the evil Triple H, who is currently running the show during this storyline. Triple H would then make a match between you and The Rock, but the twist being that it's a ladder match, and whoever loses the match will get fired. If you lose this match, you will be fired from the WWE, and you'll cut a promo pretty much saying goodbye. But the firing doesn't really last that long, however, as you'll be seen backstage for some reason the next week. I thought I was fired. Anyway, you have to interfere in Triple H's world title defense as he goes up against Stevie Richards, and you have to make sure that Triple H loses even though you're fired still, which means it only took 1 week for you to appear again. Oh, and if you was wondering, Stevie Richards didn't even get to win the title as the decision got reversed due to your interference. The next week, The Rock will be put in a handicap match that if he loses, he will also get fired as well. And the rule being that no one on the roster can interfere in the match, or they will be fired also. So I wonder who could interfere in this match. Yep, it is your character once again running out to interfere in a match. And finally, the week after that, The Rock will demand that your character will be rehired to the WWE, which Triple H agrees to, thus ending your firing for the long time of 3 weeks. The firings by Triple H continue in this list, as in WWE 2K18's career mode, you can be fired if you choose to go down the path of a fan favourite character. In this storyline, you will compete on the Raw brand, with Triple H giving you instructions to keep losing matches on purpose. After Triple H asks your character to take the fall 1 too many times, you'll get into a little argument with Triple H saying that you don't want to lose again, and then Triple H demanding that you lose. But before you go for your match, you'll meet up with Daniel Bryan, who asks you to actually win the match to anger Triple H and come to SmackDown instead. After defying Triple H's orders to lose the match, you'll get into a backstage argument with him, which leads to you being fired from Raw and hired only minutes later to go to SmackDown instead. And lastly, in SmackDown Here Comes the Pain, Vince McMahon himself fires your character after a rivalry begins if you had decided to punch him rather than join up with him. After weeks of battles and unfair advantages, Vince calls your character to come out to the ring to call a truce on the rivalry. Your character will automatically accept it, and as you're making your way back up the ramp, Vince will let you know that you're actually fired. The firing ends up lasting all of 1 week, as you were brought back the very next week as the brand new CEO of WWE, with your first act as CEO being that you give Vince another big punch in the face. So that's the end of the video. Can you remember any more WWE games where your character got fired? If you know any more, let me know in the comments, and if there is enough, I could do a part 2 with even more firing moments. Thanks as always for watching. Make sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, and I'll see you all on the next one.